Hello there, and welcome to the first episode of Back to Jakku. Man, it feels good to finally be able to say that. Hello, guys. What's up? My name's Kevin. You probably know me as Kev28. This is my brand new Star Wars podcast, Back to Jakku, and it feels good to be here. It feels really good to be here. For those of you who don't know, I used to have another Star Wars podcast called Live at the Cantina that I did with my best friend that I grew up on Star Wars with. But he kind of bailed on me. Noah, if you're listening, no hard feelings. But I loved doing that podcast. I loved talking about Star Wars, and I wanted to continue with that. So I decided I'd venture off on my own here and do Back to Jakku. And I've been sitting on that name for a long time, so it was a good chance to take that opportunity and use it. So what's up, everybody? How you guys doing? If you made it this way to the podcast, thank you. I appreciate you. It still blows my mind that there are actually people out there that will listen to me talk about Star Wars. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy, but I love it. I love sharing my passion and my love of Star Wars with others, and I can't be more thankful for that. So this first episode of Back to Jakku, it's kind of just going to be a really informal, kind of off-the-cuff, live production, I guess. I'm not going to edit anything. I'm just going to keep the camera rolling, and I'm just going to do kind of like a basic get to know me and kind of my Star Wars story kind of thing. And I think that's a good way to start. That's how we started with Live at the Cantina. So I was like, I'll do the same thing for Back to Jakku. So why not? Before I begin, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Maddie or Brunette on TikTok for making me the logo. When I decided I was doing my own podcast, I had this vision for what I wanted the logo to look like. I wanted like the Jakku a desert with a crashed Star Destroyer, and Maddie was able to make that vision a reality for me. So thank you, Maddie. If you're listening, I appreciate it, and I love the logo. With that being said, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. So my name's Kevin. I already said that. You guys know that. And I've been a Star Wars fan my entire life. One of my first memories, like ever, I was probably around 4 years old. I remember sitting on my living room floor watching A New Hope on TV. I don't remember much. The only thing I remember is the purple smoke coming around the door on the Tantive 4, and then the stormtroopers, pouring out and blasting everything. But that was one of my earliest memories, like ever. And so I can really say that I've been a Star Wars fan my entire life. Even in elementary school, like I was super into Star Wars. I'd play the original Battlefront 2 before school every day, just because I love that game so much, and I still think it's the best Star Wars game that exists. I might be blinded by nostalgia a little bit on that one, but I think it's incredible. And I just rewatch all the Star Wars movies over and over again. I think the one I watched the most growing up was Attack of the Clones, but like I had the original trilogy on VHS that I would watch all the time, and my childhood was just filled with Star Wars. Even at recess, like in elementary school, we'd have imaginary lightsaber fights, but then the recess aides would get mad at us or something that said we weren't allowed to do that. Excuse me. So Star Wars has literally consumed my life for the longest time. I mean, there were Halloweens where I went one year as Anakin, I went another year as Boba Fett. Like Star Wars was everything to me back then, almost as much as it is now. But I'm definitely way more into it now than I was back then. But that's the thing, though, is so that was me growing up, right? That was throughout elementary school. But then the way my school district worked was after 5th grade, once you go into 6th grade, you go into the middle school, which is all the elementary school districts. I mean, all the elementary schools in the district combine into one school, and it's the middle school. And back then, Disney hadn't bought Lucasfilm. So the way, people kind of perceived Star Wars back then was Star Wars wasn't cool. Like Disney hadn't bought Lucasfilm yet, had no plans for future Star Wars, and Star Wars was seen as this like nerdy thing. Like if you liked Star Wars and you expressed interest for Star Wars, you were going to be labeled as a nerd. And me going into this new school with all these new people, I didn't want to be seen that way. I didn't want to be seen as a nerd. So what I did was I kind of just gave up on Star Wars. I literally like disassociated myself with anything Star Wars. I wanted nothing to do with it. I didn't think about it. I didn't talk about it. I didn't watch any Star Wars movies. I didn't play any Star Wars games. I literally kind of shut Star Wars out of my life. And that lasted for years. That was at least 3 to 4 years, maybe more, of just not wanting anything to do with Star Wars. That was until Disney bought Lucasfilm and announced that they were making more Star Wars movies. And so at that time, I was like, they're rolling out the teasers and everything for Force Awakens Episode 7, and like I'm in that stage, I'm kind of thinking like, oh, I can easily see myself getting back into Star Wars if this movie is good. Um, but it wasn't until I saw Force Awakens opening night with all my friends that I was fully back into Star Wars. And you guys know, for those of you who don't, but the sequels are my favorite Star Wars trilogy. I love them so much. Force Awakens is my favorite Star Wars movie, and a big reason of that is that experience I had opening night on The Force Awakens. It single-handedly brought me back into Star Wars, and I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for that night. I remember that day so vividly. So it was a Friday, but the way that like the movie theaters works, like they showed screenings of the film the Thursday night before, like they had midnight screenings for Thursday. I didn't get to see any of those. So I'm in school. I'm a sophomore in high school at the time. I'm in school the next day on that Friday, and some people have already seen the movie, and I'm like, there's not a chance I'm letting myself get this movie spoiled for me. So what I did was I had my headphones in all day at school, blasting Metallica as loud as I could, because I didn't want to hear any spoilers. And I can tell you what, that worked. I did not hear any spoilers going into The Force Awakens, thank goodness. What I did have happen was my ears were ringing by the end of the school day, but that's okay. That it was worth it. It was worth it. And then that night it was like an ice storm, so like trying to get to the movie theater was like took so long. And it was a crazy night that I remember so vividly. But there's I haven't had a movie theater experience like that since then. It is by far been the best theater experience I've ever had. I just remember sitting in the theater, and then, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away pops up on screen, and then Star Wars with the music, and then everybody in the theater just starts losing their minds. And then even when like all the old characters came back on screen, and when the camera panned to the Falcon, everybody in the theater just goes crazy. It was such an incredible experience, and I can safely say that I wouldn't be doing this right now if it wasn't for that night. So that's a big reason why The Force Awakens is my favorite. If you want to know more about why I love The Force Awakens so much, you can check out Darth Choco's podcast, The High Ground. I was on his Force Awakens episode, so go check that out if you're interested. But yeah, so I was out of love with Star Wars for a long, long time, and that wasn't until The Force Awakens that it reeled me back in. So that's a big reason why the sequels and The Force Awakens are my favorites. Talking more about kind of myself and some of my other Star Wars favorites, my favorite character in all of Star Wars is Kylo Ren / Ben Solo, for many, many reasons. It's too much to go into right now, and I'm planning on doing an entire episode based on Kylo Ren, so I'm not gonna go too deep into it right now. But basically, he's one of the most complex and developed characters in all of Star Wars, and there's so much depth to him that you wouldn't understand if you just kind of looked at his character on a surface level. Kylo Ren is a character you really need to dive deep into and to really think critically about to fully understand. But once you do that, you can see he's one of the most complex characters in all of Star Wars. And I absolutely love Kylo Ren. So much so that somehow I ended up doing a Kylo Ren cosplay. Don't know how that happened, but that's part of the TikTok story that I'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, Kylo Ren is my favorite character. Not one of, he is my favorite character. Second place is Rey. I love Rey Skywalker. Ever since The Force Awakens, I just thought she was really likable. And I kind of find myself having some similar traits and characteristics to her, because we're both independent. We both know that if we want something done, we kind of have to do it ourselves. And once she does kind of find her place and find her belonging, she understands the value of friendship and the value of people. And I'm kind of the same way. I have a very close, small, close-knit group of friends that I've been friends with for years. And I know that same value of friendship and everything. So in a way, I guess I do kind of see a little bit of myself in Rey Skywalker, and I think that's kind of why I like her character so much. And Daisy Ridley is a fantastic actress. Same with Adam Driver. Like their performances in the sequel trilogy are just incredible. Third favorite Star Wars character, and it kind of hurts me to have him at number 3 and not number 1, but it's Boba Fett. My entire childhood, I was a Boba Fett fanboy. I thought he was the coolest character ever, like ever to exist. Like he didn't do much, like because this was well before the Mandalorian, so he was only in 5 and 6, but he didn't do much. But that I didn't care. Little 7-year-old Kevin didn't care. He just looked cool. And I was like, that is the coolest character I've ever seen in my entire life. So I kind of became a Boba Fett fanboy. I was obsessed with Boba Fett. I had a Boba Fett collection. Granted, not as big of a collection as Noah's Han Solo collection, if Noah, if you're listening to this, but man, oh man, I loved Boba Fett. I wanted to get my hands on literally every piece of Boba merch I could find. He was by far my favorite character. And in a way, I am surprised a little bit that he's not my favorite anymore. Because I never thought that would have happened, that he would have gotten overtaken. But yeah, I'm still a Boba Fett fanboy. I lost my mind this season of The Mandalorian when he returned. I was actually listening to the first episode of Live at the Cantina before this to prepare, and there I was talking about how there was one night last year when season 1 was the only season of The Mandalorian. I was talking about episode 5 at the end of the episode when it was Fennec kind of laying dead on the sands of Tatooine, and you can hear those boots like walking up. And there was one night at college last year where I was going back and forth between that and Empire Strikes Back when Boba walks in the dining room next to Vader, and I was like, that's Boba Fett. That is the exact same sound of the boots. It has to be him. And I was right. And I said in that first episode Live at the Cantina, I said, if this is Boba Fett, or if Boba Fett comes back, I'm going to lose my mind. That's exactly what happened. I was so hyped this season of The Mandalorian. And I've been waiting my entire life for a Boba Fett spinoff, and we're finally getting it. The Book of Boba Fett coming out later this year. I am so excited. I've been waiting my entire life for this, so I am pumped for that. My fourth favorite character I'll talk about, it's Snap Wexley. If you guys know me, I'm the self-proclaimed #1 Snap Wexley fan. I love Snap Wexley, and it took me a really long time to figure out why. Because I read the Aftermath books. After I read the first Aftermath book, that's kind of when I really became a Snap Wexley fan. And I finished the trilogy. And by the way, read the Aftermath books if you haven't. They're really good. But I couldn't figure out why I liked Snap Wexley so much. Like, why am I attaching on to this side character who really has no purpose in the story as far as the movie goes? And then I realized me and Snap Wexley are the same person. Like, I don't relate to a Star Wars character more than I relate to Snap Wexley. And it's for the weirdest reason. So basically, think about Snap Wexley. I'm talking in the movies. Think about Snap in the movies. What is he? What does he do? Not much. He's just kind of there, right? He just kind of exists. But he's always there if you need him to be, and he's always going to be down to help out. And he seems like the kind of guy that's down for a good time whenever, I'm the same way. Like, back in high school, my friends used to give me crap for, like, what's Kevin's point? Like, what's Kevin doing here? Like, he's just kind of existing. He's not doing much. And I was like, that's exactly what Snap Wexley is. Like, what's Snap Wexley doing? He's just kind of existing. But he's there if you need him to be. And he's always down for a good time. I'm like, that's me. Like, that's crazy. That's exactly how I am. So when I had that epiphany one night of why I love Snap Wexley so much, that made it all make sense, which I just think was really funny. So those are my favorite characters in Star Wars. I haven't decided who my 5th favorite character is, but those are just the top 4. Now, talking about, I mentioned that The Force Awakens is my favorite movie. Sequels are my favorite trilogy. I think I'm going to do what we did for the first episode Live at the Cantina, is just kind of talk about our favorites throughout Star Wars. So, like, I asked Noah on that first episode, like, what's your favorite scene or sequence from each trilogy? So I guess I'll just repeat what I said really quick. My favorite scene or sequence from the prequels is the opening of Revenge of the Sith, the battle over Coruscant, when, they go onto the Invisible Hand. I believe that's what Grievous's ship is called, and they fight Dooku. I just love the opening of Revenge of the Sith. I think it's so much fun, and it's just really good. It's exciting Star Wars. Favorite sequence from the original trilogy is probably the Battle of Hoth. I really like the Battle of Hoth. I always have. I love the AT-ATs. I love the snowtroopers. Everything about the Battle of Hoth was just super cool. And now, having read Lost Stars, by Claudia Gray, I love the Battle of Hoth just a little bit more. And favorite trilogy. Wow, talking's hard sometimes. Favorite sequence during the sequels is probably, no, not probably, it is redeemed Ben Solo at the end of The Rise of Skywalker. That's my favorite scene in all of Star Wars is the lightsaber handoff. Because redeemed Ben Solo is the best Ben Solo. I'm not going to get too much into it right now because, like I said, we're going to do an entire episode about Kylo Ren Ben Solo, but I loved redeemed Ben Solo. Absolutely loved. Ben deserved better. So moving on, I kind of want to talk about why I'm here almost, but mainly like my TikTok story because my TikTok story is quite interesting to say the least. So it was around December 2019. I was convinced to downloading TikTok by some friends because I thought it was just like this dumb app for like dancing and lip syncing, and I really wanted nothing to do with that. I wanted no part of that. But then they showed me some funny videos, and they're like, "Oh, it's gonna be the next Vine." So I'm like, "Okay, whatever. I'll download the app." Then I found out that TikTok's actually pretty entertaining. Like there's some quality stuff on there. And I never planned on making videos. And then the first couple videos I did make was like January 2020. Up when I was at college, I was just making these dumb videos for my friends to see. Like I had no plans on making my account public because my account was set on private. And I was just making these videos for my friends to see. But then it was May 4th, 2020. So at this time, we're already sent home because of COVID and everything. And it was Star Wars Day. And May 4th is Star Wars Day, which is actually in 2 days from now. I'm recording this on May 2nd, so that's exciting. But I wanted to do something to celebrate Star Wars Day on TikTok because by this time I put my account on public and I had one video I made, which was like introduce your friend group with like the Super Smash Bros. Audio in the background. And that video got like 900 views, which at the time I thought was absolutely ridiculous. So on May 4th, I wanted to do something to celebrate Star Wars Day. So what I did was I made a Star Wars movie ranking video, and you can imagine how that went. I don't remember exactly what order I put it in. I think my top three were The Force Awakens, Revenge of the Sith, and The Rise of Skywalker at the time. That has definitely changed by now. But people weren't happy that I had 2 out of 3 sequels in my top 3. And that was the first time I really experienced any hate and everything. But like it wasn't too bad. The video only got about 1,000 views, so it wasn't too bad. Fast forward to it was May 20th, 2020. It was like 2:30 in the morning. At this point, my sleep schedule is super messed up because all we're doing is sleeping all day and playing Warzone all night because that's the stage of quarantine we were in. So it's like 2:30 in the morning. I post a TikTok. There was like this popular audio going around. I don't even know what it was, but the TikTok was like, just show your favorites. So like I made it Star Wars, of course. I did like favorite character, favorite trilogy, favorite movie, favorite scene. Obviously, all of those having to do with Kylo Ren and the sequels, basically. And that video didn't get views initially, but 2 weeks later, it blew up and it got like 24,000 views, I think. That was crazy. 24,000 views was absolutely absurd. I thought when I hit 10,000 views, and you can see the K in your video views, I thought that was crazy. But then it hit 24,000. I was like, oh my gosh. And from that video, people were following me. So what that told me was people want to see Star Wars content. And at that point, I was like, I'm gonna keep making Star Wars content. But that video also did bring me a lot of hate and a lot of, fake fan, you don't deserve to watch Star Wars, all that nonsense. And it was really hard to deal with because that was the first time I ever had to experience anything like that. Since then, obviously, I've gotten a lot better with that. That stuff doesn't even faze me anymore. But back then, it was kind of like a big deal. But I was getting attention from that video and I was getting followers. I'm like, oh my gosh, people actually want to see what I have to say. So from that point forward, I dedicated my TikTok page to a Star Wars account. Wasn't really expecting anything from it. I was just making these dumb little Star Wars videos for fun, but it was slowly but surely gaining, traction and gaining more followers. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And it was crazy. I do want to give a big shout out to members of the Filoni Fam Discord community. If any of you guys are watching this, you guys were like my first Star Wars friends on TikTok, and I'll always be thankful for that. because that was like when I only had like 200 followers, I think, which when you guys kind of reached out to me and invited me to the Discord. Um, but yeah, it was insane. And it was funny too because my biggest fear in life back then was having people I know in real life find my TikTok. Like, oh my gosh, I'm making these cringy, embarrassing Star Wars TikToks. I don't want anybody I know in real life seeing this. But then eventually there was a point where I was just getting too much traction that was inevitable. Like people were finding my TikTok, and so I was like, okay, well I can't hide it anymore. I guess I kind of have to embrace it. So I was like plugging my TikTok, whoever I talked to, wherever I went. I figured like we might as well just go all in on this. So that's what I did. Um, so I hit 1,000 followers in September 2020, and I thought that was the biggest deal in the world. Like I was so pumped and so psyched that I hit 1,000 followers because all I really wanted to do was to go live on TikTok because you need 1,000 followers to do that. So I was so excited that I hit that milestone so I could go live. And it was funny. The first time I went live too, I had my guitar in my hands because I didn't know what to do. Somebody came in and asked me to play Wonderwall, so I literally started playing Wonderwall and singing it on my first ever TikTok live. I just think that was really funny. Um, and so yeah, we hit that in February. We hit 10,000 in February. I mean, we hit 1,000 in September 2020. We hit 10,000 in February 2021, which is insane. And I still can't wrap my head around how many people that actually is. Like the fact that there's 10,000 people that care enough about what I have to say to hit the follow button blows my mind and will forever blow my mind. That is just absolutely crazy, but I'm still thankful for that. So we're sitting at 12.5 thousand followers right now, which is just incredible and awesome, and all the good descriptive words, and I'm so thankful for that. But by far the best part of this whole TikTok experience has been the people I've met and the community I've found on Star Wars TikTok, because it was rough at the beginning for me, getting all that hate and all those nasty comments with somebody who's never had to experience any of that before. It was rough, and it was definitely getting to me. But then I realized that there's more good people in the community. Like I mentioned, the Filoni fam Discord community, they were the first ones I really connected with, and then from there I've just been meeting so many incredible people and incredible Star Wars creators, and it's by far been the best part about TikTok. 100%, undoubtedly, it's the people, and I'm so thankful for that. And I'm thankful for you guys if you're listening to this. If you made it all the way to the podcast, thank you guys so much. It's incredible. It's insane. But yeah, just the people they've meant so much to me, and it's been the best part of TikTok for sure. And I'm just very thankful I've been able to do all this and to meet all you guys. So yes. So moving on, I want to talk about something I've gone overboard with was Star Wars collecting. It's kind of the last thing I want to talk about in this episode. I'm a big Star Wars collector. Never used to be, but once COVID kind of happened and we're stuck at home on quarantine, it's like I needed a hobby. So I kind of unknowingly stumbled into Black Series collecting. My first figure I got in July, it was the Force Awakens Kylo Ren. Of course, that's going to be my first figure. And I was like, man, this is a really like nice quality, action figure for the price. And it was like a snowball effect from there. Like I started it and I couldn't stop. And that's the same spot I'm in now. I have like a shelf with over 60 figures on it. It's insane, but collecting is so much fun. And every time I look over at my shelf, it puts a smile on my face, and I think that's the whole point. But yeah, it definitely became addicting really fast, and kind of expensive, but it's fine. It's fine. And then since then, I've got a couple of the Hot Toys. If you're watching the video podcast, you can see them sitting next to me. I got Rey and BB-8 from The Force Awakens and Kylo from The Last Jedi. I got some Star Wars Legos. I got Funko Pops. I got basically a little bit of everything. Vintage collection figures. I got those on my wall. But Star Wars collecting is so much fun, and I have a blast with it. And it's definitely an expensive hobby, but it's a lot of fun. And also the whole Kylo cosplay thing. That was crazy. That was something I never expected to happen. So the story about that is I was creeping up on 10,000 followers back in February, and I've always kind of wanted to do a Kylo cosplay. Like there was a point in time on Live at the Cantina where I was talking about it, But I was like, I'll never get to that. Like, I'll never pull the trigger on something like that. But then I'm creeping up on 10,000 followers on TikTok. It's like, hey, if I hit 10,000 followers, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll buy the Kylo cosplay. So I posted that video. That video got 35,000 views. Next morning, I woke up. I had 10.1 thousand followers. And I was like, shoot, I have to do it now. But I wasn't actually mad. I was kind of excited. But I was incredibly nervous to kind of jump into the cosplay world at first. Like, it was really intimidating. And I was scared and didn't really know how to feel about it. But then, like, again, the people on TikTok were so encouraging. And the support was so nice. And they kind of talked me into it. And any doubts I had before that were gone after the encouragement and the support from everybody on TikTok. And I've had a blast with it. It's so much fun. I don't make like serious cosplay content. I make a fool of myself online with the Kylo outfit. But like, that's the point. Like, that's what I got it for. I'm not here to take myself seriously. My life motto at the moment is life's too short not to embarrass yourself on the internet. So you know, we just have fun with it, and it definitely is a lot of fun. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up the first episode of Back to Jakku. I feel so good to finally be able to get to this. It's been at least 3 months. It's been 3 to 4 months that I've been wanting to record this first episode. I just haven't had time. I've been so busy with school and work, and I have like no free time. And you know, it's finally nice to be able to get to it. Funny story is, it is currently 7 p.m. I was recording this around, I'd say it was like 3 or 4 o'clock today. And I was probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes into it, and we lost power. Like, we straight up lost power. And I have a funny clip of my reaction to when the power went out. If I end up throwing it in the video, it will be here. I was like, I am going to record the first episode. Did we just lose power? We just lost power. But yeah, so we lost power, and I was like, shoot. So I went and I played 9 holes of golf to kill the time while we didn't have power. The power's back now, so I was like, I'm going to do this episode because I wanted to do it earlier, but we had some unforeseen mishaps, I guess. So yeah, basically for Back to Jakku, this first episode was just kind of like a get to know me, get to know my Star Wars story kind of thing. What I want to do from now on is have a different guest on for each episode and to talk about a different topic. So like, I want to do an episode about Kylo Ren, probably do an episode about Rey, about the sequels, about the prequels, about the original trilogy. Everything Star Wars is fair game and is on the table. So I'm probably going to be reaching out to some people pretty soon to get them on the podcast and to just talk about Star Wars, because it's my favorite thing to do. Talking about Star Wars is by far my favorite thing to do. I love it so much. I had so much fun with Live at the Cantina, and I know I'm going to have so much fun with this one. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I do have to figure out how to record on Zoom. I don't think it's too complicated. I've just never done it before, so I'm going to be looking into that. Also, we're doing video podcasts on YouTube, and then I'm going to try and get on Spotify and Apple Podcasts too. So hopefully everything in that regard works out. So Back to Jakku on everything, probably. The information will be in the description of the video. But yeah, so thank you guys for listening. What we used to do on Live at the Cantina was me and Noah would do this thing at the end of the episode where we'd say, if you made it this far in the episode, leave a comment down in the YouTube comments, and it'd always be a hashtag of some sort. So if you made it all the way to the end of the episode and you're listening to this, go on YouTube, in the comments, leave the comment hashtag Snap deserved better, because Snap Wexley did in fact deserve better. So hashtag Snap deserved better if you made it all this way. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching. I'm so excited to do more of these, and it's going to be a really good time. So thank you again for tuning in and checking it out, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you.